generally the people that are at the protest, we care. Those folks are showing up because they want to see something done about policing in this community, in this country. They want to stop the fact that every single year we have a rise in police killings and nobody is doing the actual work to fix it. And so by saying, hey, we're going to show up and put our bodies on the line, that and then turning that around to make it as though those are the folks who are violent, those are the folks who are extreme. If you stop the police violence in this community, in this country, then nobody has to show up for a protest. Let me just say that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for being here, Secretary Mayorkas. St. Louis and I are here today, as always, to ask hard questions about real issues. Secretary Mayorkas, I'm concerned that the department and the Office of Intelligence and Analysis in particular encourages the targeting of protesters, activists, incarcerated people, and progressive movements. For example, in 2020, under the prior administration, intelligence and analysis labeled individuals protesting police brutality and racial injustice after the killing of George Floyd as domestic violent extremists. And department leadership instructed officials to create and share intelligence dossiers about, quote, everyone participating in Portland protests, unquote, as part of a discredited effort to link protesters to a non-existent terrorism plot. And these issues still continue to this day. Secretary Mayorkas, do you acknowledge that the department has referred to opponents of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, or what we call Cop City, as alleged domestic violent extremists and militants comprising violent far-left occupation? And that's just a yes or no.
Well, Congresswoman, a few things, I must say. First, I'm immensely proud of the men and women who work in the Office of Intelligence and Analysis under the superb leadership of Kenneth Weinstein. They do tremendous work in making sure the American people are safe and secure. I am familiar with activities in Atlanta that are lawful, and I am also familiar with activities to which you refer that are unlawful. And we do not condone violence. We do safeguard and protect the free expression of speech.
Okay. So what you're saying is that this alleged domestic violent extremists or militants that you're saying that you condemn that language and you condemn. I'm just trying to be clear because we can't both sides it when people are actually being hurt, and I can speak to it as an actual activist myself, and I've been there, I've seen what actually happens to protesters and what actually makes the media and what actually makes the reports. So I just want to make sure that we're saying that are you saying you domestic violent extremists, because I have the report here, are you saying that you condemn that, or that is part of the work?
Congresswoman, lawful protest is a proud tradition in this country. There cannot be a connectivity between an ideology and the expression of that ideology through violent means. That is when we get involved to prevent violence. Individuals are free to express their ideologies, whatever we might think of those ideologies. Okay, let me, I have limited time. Let me reclaim my time. Let me go to my next question.
So are you aware that Georgia law enforcement officials have used those characterizations to support their charges of domestic terrorism against opponents of Cop City?
I am not, Congressman. I can't speak to state activity, state law enforcement. What I can do is speak of what we in the Department of Homeland Security do.
Because when we don't call it out, when we don't address it, that's what happens. And I get it. You're not a part of the state, and you can't tell the state what to do, or you're not, as intricately involved in that. But when we don't speak up to it and we know what's happening, then they are able to do those things, and that's what this report is about. And it actually affects real people. And let me just also say, the people that show up to protest are usually the ones that care about the issue and are trying to save lives. Folks don't show up to protest usually unless they are sent there, and I know that happens too. But generally, the people that are at the protest, we care. Those folks are showing up because they want to see something done about policing in this community, in this country. They want to stop the fact that every single year we have a rise in police killings, and nobody is doing the actual work to fix it. And so by saying, hey, we're going to show up and put our bodies on the line, that and then turning that around to make it as though those are the folks who are violent, those are the folks who are extreme. If you stop the police violence in this community, in this country, then nobody has to show up for a protest. Let me just say that. And lastly, I will say that I'm concerned about the department's policies against related to immigration enforcement. But I will make sure that we get this documentation to you because I am out of time. But lastly, I would like, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record all the documents that I just spoke of.
Without objection.